Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this LinkedIn live call. My name is Ilay Ahadi. I specialize in building AI systems for better productivity. This is season 2, episode 1 of my podcast series. I'd like to introduce my awesome guest, Audrey Chia, an AI-powered marketer focusing on copywriting and strategy as well as personal branding. And so, welcome to the podcast, Audrey. And could you just provide a brief introduction, a little bit about you?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So, Elia and I have been connected for quite some time. We've been chatting a lot about AI, personal branding, and all that fun stuff. My name is Audrey. If you don't know me, I run a hybrid human AI copywriting consultancy called Close with Copy. And I'm leveraging LinkedIn and personal branding a lot for my business. Because being like a solopreneur, you really need to be able to like find leads somewhere, right? And actually LinkedIn is one of the best platforms for anyone who's just starting out.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that. And so related to LinkedIn, what made you choose like LinkedIn? Was that like, it is a professional platform, but as you are focused on copywriting, that is a specialty that you have. What made you focus on LinkedIn first versus something like Twitter or X, as they call it, or well, I guess Instagram's more like picture heavy, but what was the inclination to focus on LinkedIn first? And is also, so you're also based in Singapore, so social media is global. What's the presence like for LinkedIn in Singapore as well? So there's a two-part question. What made you choose LinkedIn, and then does it have an effect on where you're at in terms of your region?
Yeah, so funny story, right? Prior to LinkedIn, I hated posting content online. So I don't have anything on my Instagram page. I look like a stalker. You would see like Audrey follows 300 people, has 0 posts. That's the kind of person I am, right? And then when I first started my consultancy, I was thinking, where do I, start? And actually, before LinkedIn, I tried posting AI content on TikTok for 1 month. Okay, so I did try another platform, but I realized that even though you were getting like quite a decent reach on TikTok, the audience there isn't your target audience. At least for me, I am targeting founders, CMOs, CEOs. There's a high likelihood that they will not be on TikTok, not as much at least, and they'll probably be on LinkedIn. So finding the right channel for your product or service is extremely important, and that's why I pivoted to LinkedIn. And I think the beauty of it is I get to work with clients from all over the world, not just Singapore. I have clients from UK, the US, Dubai even. And it has been amazing because even though, you guys are based in different places, you are able to take on projects that are unique and interesting and also still bring in your expertise, right? And still deliver value in so many ways. So I think this is one of the most incredible platforms ever.
Absolutely, totally agree. In terms of especially like inspirational content, professional content, and then it's also I feel like the other platforms that don't have the written content so much, like TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. If you're a little bit like camera shy, I think that's also that barrier of entry is much higher compared to, it is hard to post online whatever you post, but I think writing something is it is easier in a way. Coming back to individuals, like, was there any, like, as you were starting your LinkedIn journey, was there any individuals or creators or personal role models, it could just be like your mom and dad, or like big creators on LinkedIn that you were really following? I'm sure you probably still follow these people, but is there anything that really inspired you in terms of like, and that could be related to your niche, but then also not related to your niche? Is there any particular people that you'd like to call out that
Yeah.
like influences your work and your values?
Yeah, definitely. I think there are so many people that I deeply admire and respect. But what I also believe in is being smart and strategic about how and who you follow. So for me, right, because as a copywriter, whenever I'm writing an ad, I always do my competitive research, right? I'm always looking out for the top performing ads from other brands. If I'm writing a landing page, it's the same thing, right? So on LinkedIn, I am the product. This is a media channel. How do I win? Firstly, by understanding how other people are winning. So of course, I went to the top copywriters, the top AI creators, the top content marketing strategists. I wanted to figure out what was working for them and what wasn't. And I would compare literally two creators' posts, right? Why is one performing better than the other? Then I started having like a data bank of creator posts that worked. And then I started understanding what worked and what didn't, then taking elements of what worked and applying it, to my own content. So the learning curve was pretty steep because initially I didn't even know what a carousel was. Like who does carousels? It doesn't make sense on any other platform, right? Like what on earth is it? And I thought of it like a mini textbook, right? So that also led me down the rabbit hole of how do you create the perfect carousel where you're not, giving too much information, but you're still adding value and you're still creating content that is compelling. So that also meant understanding how other top LinkedIn creators worked on their carousels, understanding what made it work, and then applying and testing those things on my own content.
Totally, that totally makes sense. And then, so starting with the basics, so something that as we're going to dive deeper in terms of your expertise. So how would you define? Let's start with AI. How would you define what AI is?
AI is my best friend. It's my bestie. I'm using it every single day. Yeah, I think AI to me is very simple, right? It's a supercharged intern that I work with to create content and copy at scale. The only caveat is you cannot rely on it to do all the work for you. You need to have that human AI hybrid model, and that's the thing that I've been saying since day one, right? Because a writer who uses AI is able to go so much further than someone who's trying to build an AI tool to write. And this is from me being on both ends of the spectrum and testing things out. So what is AI? AI is my best friend. It's a companion. And if leveraged correctly, it can really supercharge your productivity as a business owner.
Absolutely, totally agree with that. And then how would you define what content strategy is?
Content strategy doesn't have to be as complicated as what it may sound like or it may seem, right? Some people think of the word strategy and be like, I can't do that, like it's so complicated. But it's not. Strategy basically is your roadmap or your plan to get to your end results, right? So for example, in my case, my content strategy has a couple of components. That actually means defining who is my target audience: CEOs, founders, business owners. What is my unique value proposition? AI, human copywriting, right? What is the core offer that I have? Bespoke copywriting frameworks, for example, and then figuring out what type of, funnel content you want: top, middle, bottom of funnel content formats. So it's basically a roadmap where you're piecing together different pieces of the puzzle, right? And then once you have that full puzzle, you deploy it and then you see if it works. And if it doesn't work, it's fine. Just re-optimize that content. So when you look at another creator's work, right, don't just look at the work itself. Think about why did that creator put out that piece of work and why is it going viral? Or why is it converting? Or why is it attracting so much engagement? There must be a reason. So look beyond just the content itself. Think about what are their mental models and frameworks they're applying when creating that piece of content.
Yeah, that's where the strategy piece comes in. Is like not just posting and thinking about like the whys behind not just your content, but then like other creators' content, your competitors' content, why they're performing better than even if you have the same niche. Is like what is the difference there? It could be something as simple as like the timing or the formatting. So all these things, like so capturing the metrics. So as somebody who's expertise in like project management, all these things are related to projects in terms of like your content creation, how you're managing your funnels in terms of working to monetize your brand. Is what I'm working on right now. And so that kind of like the metrics tracking is super important. And so this is where like the tactics come in, but at a high level, as you were saying, like the whys behind it, which is the strategy piece, which sometimes gets a little bit lost, is especially when you're down the weeds, like, some people post every day or post like often, and so that is going into the weeds, and then engaging also takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But do you have, like, in terms of like thinking about reflecting on like these metrics, do you have like, you probably don't do it after every post, right? Like you probably do you have like a set time, like maybe like once a week or once a month, in terms of looking like how your posts are performing, like once you
Yeah.
have enough data? So what does that look like?
Yeah. So for me, because every piece of content I put out is an experiment.
Yes, yes.
That's like the way I see content is every piece of content is an ad. How did the ad
Yes.
perform? So I analyze everything. Like recently, I put out a post that was meant to be a viral post because it was a lead gen post where I was giving out a free resource.
Yes.
However, it didn't perform as well as I expected.
Hmm.
I was wondering why, because I created a similar type of format, content format about 6 months ago, and it performed extremely well. And I was wondering why it didn't catch on. And my hypothesis is that maybe it's because the video that I posted was a 1 minute long video talking about what's in that giveaway. Whereas in my previous post, it was a GIF. My hypothesis is if it's a GIF and it gets even more engagement and view throughs, right? Then LinkedIn could also prioritize it and think that, okay, people are watching this video because it's just like a 5 second video, right? And then because it's a GIF, people also don't have to sit through a 1 minute video, and that could get even more engagements. So that could be one reason. Or the second reason could be because of the hook. If my hook isn't as strong as it used to, right, then I'm going to revert back to the original hook. But that's even like me reviewing and analyzing my post in a very critical manner, because that allows me to get better the next time I post. And I'm always optimizing and testing different formats and frameworks because of this.
Yeah, yeah. So like, do you do like so it, capturing these metrics can be a little tricky because, like it's so like diving a little bit deeper into that, say if you were to do a second experiment, or like you had a 6 month ago test, a lot can change in 6 months in terms of the platform, at least somewhat. But in terms of, say, if you had to do that next test with that similar type of post, what would you, so you just be like, would you just be changing that one thing, so like from the short to like a GIF, and doing various similar written content, and then that is your test? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, so for me, I would probably revert back to using a GIF instead of a video. I might still change up the hook a little because I like to change things up. But
Okay.
the goal for me would be to see if one type of format works better. And you can tell from other creators who are doing viral lead generation posts or giveaway posts, a lot of them are using 5 second GIFs. There must be a reason why. And if their GIFs are doing well, then technically I should be trying that format instead. Yeah, it's just that for this time round, I just thought to try something different. And it's good learning for me, because even if it didn't perform well, now I know something and I have a new insight that I can leverage.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And then, so coming a little bit more in terms of your own business. So you're a founder yourself, correct? With Close with Copy, that
Yeah.
is your own a business. And so, do you? So how long have you had this business? Are you a solopreneur, or do you have like co-founders, or do you have, like, you're the founder and you just delegate like tasks to like assistants? Could you tell me or relay, like, what does your business look like on a day
So
to day?
I'm a proud solopreneur with a team of AI interns.
Okay. Okay. Great.
That's the future is here, right? So, in the past, I used to only be able to take on like X amount of projects. Now I can triple it, because I have AI to support me in my workflows and processes. Um, of course, I think everyone's business model is different. So when I first started, I was doing a day job and 5 other gigs. So I also started from, trying to figure all these out. And then once I had the confidence to launch my own business, then I could drop the day job and confidently, go into it. Of course, it was not a smooth journey. Every entrepreneur's journey is going to be pretty fun,
Yeah.
much like a roller coaster. But that's why I think LinkedIn really became that pivotal moment for me, right? And that's why I'm such a huge proponent for it, because prior to LinkedIn, I was struggling to find leads. I was going to so many in-person networking events, I was on freelance job sites like Fiverr and Upwork. I even joined like some women's Telegram group in hopes of connecting with other founders who could perhaps, show me the way. So
That's good.
I was trying, and I was trying so many different things, and none of it worked. That was how hard it was for me before I started building a personal brand. And when I finally took the leap and said, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens.
So just to step back, so was this like as you're like trying a lot of things, what were you focused on, like AI copywriting the whole time, or was it like totally different stuff?
Yeah, so at that time I was mostly pushing just copywriting. Of
Hmm.
course, I already knew about AI, but it wasn't like a core value proposition for me. Yeah, and then I think it was like 3 to 4 months into launching my own consultancy, and I had still no new leads. That was when I decided, Audrey, how much do you want this? Then I said, yeah, I think I want it badly enough. And so I started my whole LinkedIn journey.
So okay, so a lot of it was a mindset thing. It sounds like,
Yeah, it's all
like
here.
it's, and then and so okay, so this is stepping into like your offer, and then also like the funnels. And somebody does have a question related to getting clients. We'll get into that as we get through your funnel. So at a high level, what is something you offer right now? And I can speak to this too a little bit, since I am a client of it, but
Yeah.
love to hear, like what you currently offer.
Yeah, awesome.
Mhm.
So, of course, I have like multiple offers. As a
Mhm.
solopreneur, I run my own copywriting consultancy, and that's my
Mhm.
core business. But I
Mhm.
think what would be really interesting to share with our listeners today is the LinkedIn Launchpad. Like, you heard my story, you know how hard it was for me to get
Mhm.
started. And I know there are so many people out there in the exact same position I was just 1 year ago. And I wish I could have had that resource to really help me get started. So in this LinkedIn Launchpad, I really wanted to create a system that could help people to launch with speed. That is the goal, right? Because if I knew what I knew now, I could go so much faster, and I didn't have to, struggle with 10 likes per post for so many months, right? So
Mhm.
in the LinkedIn Launchpad, it actually includes three different things. We have like a done for you profile design and revamp, because personal branding starts with your brand, and that means looking and feeling a certain way, right? Then
Mhm.
we have the virtual masterclass, where I really power packed it with insights that I've gained from all my experiments and things that have actually helped me to grow from 0 to 30K in just 12 months. And the
Mhm.
third thing, of course, is an AI tool that my partner Jake and I built. So this AI tool has been trained with top performing LinkedIn post frameworks. I use it like every other day to create my post copy, and that has really streamlined my own workflows. So my goal is to help people who are trying to get started on LinkedIn ease into it and really supercharge their growth and success here.
Absolutely, and I've joined just a little bit about like my experience. So I joined the Launchpad after doing content creation for uh, like a few, like 3 or 4 months, and there were still some things like that. Even like I was following like a high level content strategy. I had some designs. Was able to write my posts in terms of like batching my posts, but in terms of like especially the value that I got a lot from it was how to think about strategy more so. I think this is something that, for me, like the thing that resonated a lot in terms of this particular offer is walking through the funnel, thinking about the different types of content to put out. At the top of the funnel is like your general content posting to social media. Middle is you getting closer to your like newsletter, and then getting closer to working with the actual clients, and then bottom is like your offer, and then converting clients. And so that really helped me to think about like each of the stages of like what content I was doing and when. And so that was like the biggest value gain that I got from it. And then also tweaking like my LinkedIn profile, treating my LinkedIn page as like a landing page. That is something that your course covers. So that really helped me as well. And so, if So going to the question, like the person that Mohammed does have a question. This is the bottom of the funnel, but converting your clients. Let's go to this question. So he says, how can I get clients from LinkedIn to create a portfolio? Is it okay to post a gig on Fiverr? Love to hear your thoughts, Audrey.
So I'm not sure if I am understanding the question correctly. So correct me if I got it wrong. But I think what you're asking, how can I get clients from LinkedIn to create a portfolio? And is it okay to post a gig on Fiverr, right? So of course it's okay to post gigs on Fiverr. I think I started there as well. I started on Upwork actually, not Fiverr, because it's a lot easier to get clients on Upwork. That's a hot tip from me. Yeah, but I think what you'll realize is that if you're able to build a personal brand, right, you don't have to be the one pitching for clients. And even when you do pitch, it's a lot easier to get that sell or that deal because people already know you. Whereas on Fiverr and Upwork, you're just one of the many faces there. And all people can rely on are perhaps the reviews that you have on your site, right? And then maybe your short chat with them. But here, it's about personal branding, right? So when you reach out to someone with already a personal brand here on LinkedIn, you already have credibility, authority, and trust. That makes having the conversation so much easier, right? And if you're talking about how can you get clients from LinkedIn to perhaps look at your portfolio, right? I think it's about really giving them value first. So for me, I give a lot of value on my LinkedIn. I talk about content creation, content strategy, copywriting. I'm always delivering value so that when I chat with them and I show them, hey, this is how I can help. I can also send them some of my past work if I wanted to, or get them on a call so that you can have that conversation and you can go from there. So I think it's really important to think about being able to attract the clients that you desire instead of being someone competing with everyone else for the clients that you want. And that's the difference between building a brand on LinkedIn versus setting up a gig on any other platform.
Totally. So love that. And then so a question that I used to ask myself, and I think other a challenge for a common pain point for users is like you hear a lot of posts on like, inspirational posts like you just got to start, you just got to be consistent. It's high level stuff and a lot of it's not actionable. But what would you say to for people who do these things, like who have already started somewhat and posting consistently, but not getting leads, not standing out from the noise? What would be some things that you can recommend for these pain points?
Yeah, the first thing I recommend is you actually want to spend a lot of your time in your inbox. And I know even I don't like selling. I hate selling. I rather just do my work and write copy that I love, right? but actually selling in the DMs is also a form of copywriting. The reason why you want to do so is because, especially at the beginning, people aren't going to actively look for you when your reach is low and when you have X amount of followers. You haven't established authority yet. So what you need to do is, while posting content to build that authority in the long term, you want to already have those conversations and relationship building in the DMs so that when someone needs something, they will come to you. And the funny thing is, some of the clients who come to me, they have been following my content for a couple of months and they don't say anything, right? And then one day it's like, hey,
lurkers.
They are your best clients. Lurkers are your best clients. I promise you that, because they are the ones who are busy founders or business owners who don't have time to be commenting on people's posts, right? But they do take note of what you're posting online. And when they need a copywriter, they're like, oh yeah, I think I remember Audrey's content. Let me approach her. Or if I drop a hi, then that's when the conversation can happen, right? So spend time in the DMs. That's probably like one of the first things you want to do.
So with that, do you do I guess what's the appropriate balance? So as a beginner-ish creator, you don't. This is related to the question that Sammy was asking. You don't have a great system for leads yet. In terms of you don't have a testimonial, maybe no social proof. You've been posting some, but you don't have a lot of followers. So do you do you do a lot of outbound? for these lurkers, like, I guess, like, is one of the best things to look at is like profile views. I know that is a metric that a lot of people harp on, to see, like, maybe these are the things that these are the people that did take a look of, like, your profile. Your profile should be your landing page. And then is this something you do like active outbound with? Because they're not going to engage with you, right? Like, they don't engage in your content. They might engage later, who knows, like months later. But if you are trying to get leads, you don't have these like social proof and testimonials. Should you be, I think, focusing on DMs, at least to balance, is definitely a good strategy. But like, what do you think is appropriate for doing a lot of outbound?
Yeah. So firstly, you need to know who your ideal customer profile is. Mm-hmm. Don't send messages to everyone.
Yeah.
Focus your energy and efforts on the people who know you can help. So you need to find people and have an offer that solves their pain points, right? That is something you need to find that fit between your offer and your audience. Then once you have your audience, you can really actively pursue them. And whenever you have that conversation, don't try to sell anything to them at first. That's my problem when I first started. I'm not a salesperson. Initially, I was like, hey, if you need help with copywriting, it was so cringy, right? And I was like, why did I do that? But now I've grown, I've learned. Don't pitch slap anyone, don't sell them stuff. Just have a relationship and really be genuinely interested in what they're doing with their company, with their brand, where they're at, and then have those conversations first before seeing if you're a good fit and whether you can help. And I think one thing is, if you don't have, a portfolio at the start, and this is what I did at the start, I either took on very, very small projects, right, where I'm earning close to nothing, but I really wanted to build portfolio. I think in the beginning, if you don't have the portfolio, just trade it with your effort, right, and your time, because that adds up. And everyone starts somewhere, so don't worry if you cannot get a big client at the start, right? And what Alex from Risey did also when he first started is he offered to work for free for the first X clients, right?
Yes.
There are always ways to get started and to build a portfolio.
Yes, and absolutely, and I'm going through that too. Like, I'm working on lead generation, working on getting clients. I think the biggest thing with offering your work for free or cheap, besides like actually getting like testimonials, a little bit of social proof, is you're iterating on your offer. Like, for example, like my initial thoughts of my offer was didn't exactly resonate with some of the people that I'm working with. But then when you're actually going through the offer, talking through them of what their pain points are, hearing it from exactly their side in terms of the day-to-day, you do tweak your offer. And so I think that is one of the best things to actually get the experience. Because you don't know what you don't know. You can input ChatGPT, your ideal client, here are the pain points, frustrations, but that'll only give you like a very high level taste of like what they're actually feeling, because we are humans first. Like, AI, doesn't do that well in terms of the empathy. And so I know we're getting close to time. So there's another question here. So I know you also have a podcast yourself. You started your podcast recently on different mediums besides LinkedIn. But could you, what are your thoughts on LinkedIn events? I mean, you're here at this LinkedIn event, but anything you'd like to add to that? Any LinkedIn event strategies to help build your brand?
Yeah, definitely. I think for LinkedIn events, you have to know what is the purpose of hosting an event, and you need to know that because of LinkedIn's platform, a lot of people are not going to be online when you're hosting your event, so you're not going to be expecting a huge turnout. I have closely monitored LinkedIn events of a lot of creators to see if it's a good ROI. And honestly, if you are just counting on the live sessions, it's not. You will get a very highly engaged audience, but there is a high chance that nobody's going to watch it. That's why you need to be able to have that content to repurpose it, so that it has greater longevity and it lives somewhere, right? So if what Elijah is doing is taking this content and afterwards it lives on YouTube, right, on another platform, you can do cut downs, then that's how you milk the content and then maximize it. So that is why I started a podcast, because podcasts have a longer lifespan. It lives on multiple platforms, and I don't have to worry about it, being a once and done, because people can always revisit and listen to your podcast. So don't think about like the content format first. Think about what is your objective. Then think, does it meet your objectives? And if it does, then go for it. So if my goal is to create a webinar where I really wanted to sell the Launchpad, which I might do so one day, right? Then I might do a LinkedIn event, because that would allow me to really drive to the objective of conversion after nurturing my audience on the call. So that's something that you can think about when it comes to event formats.
Awesome. So I know we're a little bit over time. There's just one more, just if you could just do some rapid fire questions. So,
Yeah.
this person, so he's a graphic designer, Hamid, and anything else to consider with copywriting? I mean, I guess that's kind of a very broad question, but so I guess just to wrap it up, so like, what is like one takeaway you want the audience to take away related to your expertise and your offer? I think that can help answer this question too, because it is tied to copywriting. So what is like out of this, like if there's anything that people take away from this call specifically, like what would be one high level takeaway that you'd want people to know?
Yeah, I think one key takeaway from my end is, don't post content for the sake of it. Don't treat LinkedIn like any other social media platform. Use it in a very strategic manner, right? When you want to post content, what is your objective? Which part of the funnel are you targeting? So if you're able to master the design part of things, which is one section, right? Have the content strategy and the roadmap for yourself to know what is working, what isn't, what is your plan, how are you going to win? And then the third thing is being consistent in using the right copy to attract your audience, having AI to help you in the process, but still making it human. Then you have three parts of what you basically need: the design, that human strategy, and a way to execute quickly, which is what we also want to offer in the Launchpad. But I think the goal is, for anyone who's just getting started, don't feel intimidated or overwhelmed by this process. I know it can be daunting at the start. I was feeling exactly the same, but take baby steps, right? So commit to perhaps just 2 posts a week. That's doable. Commit to maybe 10 engagements a day, right? Or like 10 DMs a day, just tiny steps. And then slowly you will learn and you'll grow. And then when it becomes natural to you, that's when you can really ramp it up and be like, yes, I'm doing 1 post a day, and which is where I am at right now, but only because I've become so familiar with the platform, and now I'm confident and comfortable enough to put out that content at this speed.
Awesome. And then one last question is like, where's the best place to find you, and anything else you'd like to relate to the audience? If it's just LinkedIn, that's totally cool. But I know you're branching out to multiple platforms as well.
Yeah. So you can find me on LinkedIn, of course. Every Thursday, I'll be dropping a new podcast. This podcast is called the AI Marketers Playbook, because I believe in actually leveraging AI for good. Right. So if you're able to learn and understand how other people are actually utilizing it, you will be able to launch with speed. Really excited to share more with you guys. So take a look at the Thursday podcast, and if anything, I am on LinkedIn and you can find me there.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure, Audrey. So thanks so much for your time, and catch you on LinkedIn.
I will see you guys soon. Bye.
Goodbye.